Hello, everybody. Today is the latest installment of the month of monologues. I'm Noah Lucas, and today we will be putting Stanislavski all together with a nice little bow on it. I'm going to be reviewing everything I went over in the last couple of episodes, and then I'm going to be explaining how to put it all together. So, starting off with given circumstances. These are the basic questions an actor asks themselves, or a character would ask themselves, to figure out who they are, what are their goals, why do they want what they want, and their obstacles as well. Remember, the entire goal of Stanislavski is to create a realistic setting on stage for the audience to enjoy. Emotional memory is the cornerstone of Stanislavski's entire system. It's also the most controversial. Using your emotional experiences and your strong emotional feelings and pouring them into the character or relating them, making the transition from actor to character much more smooth and making it a much more realistic experience for the audience to enjoy. And the magic if is just an extension of emotional memory, essentially, utilizing a very nice question of what if I was in this situation, or what if the character was in this situation, using your imagination and making the character, almost taking a unique spin on a character, if you would, and making it your own. And now, to put it all together, I will be using the ending monologue from The Breakfast Club, told by Brian. Brian is a pretty nerdy guy, but also kind of funny. And this is at the very end of the movie. All right, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to go through the entire method. Dear Mr. Vernon, we accept the fact that we had to sacrifice a whole Saturday in detention for whatever it was we did wrong. But we think you're crazy for making us write an essay telling you who we think we are. You see us as you want to see us, in the simplest terms, in the most convenient definitions. But what we found out is that each one of us is a brain, and an athlete, and a basket case, a princess, and a criminal. Does that answer your question? Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club. All right, so, first things first, given circumstances. Who am I? I'm Brian. I'm pretty nerdy. Where am I? I'm in detention at a school. I'm a student. What do I want? To tell this teacher where to stuff it, essentially. Why do I want it? I feel frustrated at the entire experience and want to share what I've learned. All right. Emotional memory. I've never been in detention, but I have felt a lot of things are pointless, that taught me nothing, and that I want to lash out or fight back against the person who did it. For example, at my job, a lot of times I feel like I'm doing something that just doesn't mean anything. And I strive to tell my boss every time I feel, unnecessary in my job. The magic if. Okay, so what if Brian was in... Okay, so what if I were in a situation like this? What would I do? The exact same thing as Brian. Be witty and make sure this teacher knows that this entire thing is pointless, in hopes of trying to save, my fellow classmates from experiencing the same thing. Also, kind of sharing what I've learned with the teacher, being more of an adult, essentially. Now, what if Brian was in a situation where this wasn't the case, the opposite of the situation? He probably wouldn't be as witty. I'll be fair. A lot of this wit seems to be in response to the teacher's actions. And the entire situation forces him to grow. It forces the entire Breakfast Club to grow, essentially. And to get to know each other. Breakfast Club's a really good story about archetypes. All right. Now, put it all together. I'm going to go through the monologue again. All right. Dear Mr. Vernon, We accept the fact that we had to sacrifice a whole Saturday in detention for whatever it was we did wrong, but we think you're crazy for making us write an essay telling you who we think we are. You see us as you want to see us, in the simplest terms, in the most convenient definitions. But what we found out is that each one of us is a brain, and an athlete, and a basket case, a princess, and a criminal. Does that answer your question? Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club. I kind of took a more sassy spin to it. I feel from Brian that he has very large intellect and kind of has an ego about it. And this experience has humbled him to an extent, but not the extent where he can't use that large wit to massively inflate his ego. All right, that's the end of the Stanislavski unit. Starting tomorrow, we will be going over Strasberg, who is, in my opinion, the natural offshoot of Stanislavski's emotional memory and magic if. And this is all a larger part of making a realistic performance for the audience. I hope you enjoyed, and that's all I have for you today, and I will see you tomorrow.